Welcome back to another season of the Maxxis British Drift Championship. Before we go straight into 2014, let's have a quick recap of 2013 season. We kick off the 7th season of the BDC here at Lydden Hill Racer in Kent. Here he is himself. Mike, good to have you back. How did it feel to win the championship last year after not even scoring points here at the first round?
It was pretty amazing really, seeing I didn't expect to win anything. I've just come here to have fun and got some good results out of it.
The car looks a lot different than it did last year.
Bigger injectors, some new suspension, got 550 horsepower now with 600 foot-pound of torque, comes with some bigger wheels.
Have you got a game plan for this year? You're just going to do the same as last year? Have
same as I always do. Have fun, wind people up, have a laugh, and hopefully get results.
Last year had a bit of an accident at Scotland and couldn't carry on the weekend. But yeah, we've come back with a much stronger car for this year, and just hopefully, so starting to get used to it, but could have done with a test day. But no, all good. Everything's all good.
With a quick downpour earlier this morning and more rain scheduled later on, that's going to make the track really slippery for the battles this afternoon. How do you feel about the wet weather?
Wet. Not the most fun.
You ready for Lake Lydden?
We had to do it last year. I'm sure it won't hurt again.
So we've caught up with some of the drivers. Let's pass you over to our commentator Marty, who will go through the qualifying results.
Thanks, Corin. We kicked off 2014 with a fantastic semi-pro class qualifying session. A few new drivers and a few old drivers, but Gary Mills taking the top spot with 68 points. In the pro class we saw again some old and new faces. Oliver Silcock scoring 77 points, but Martin Batty, a new driver, scoring 83 points in first. However, all eyes were on the Super Pro class. Back for 2014, we saw 3 former BDC champions take the top 3 spots, but Stephen Biagioni scoring 89 points, 12 points clear to take first place.
Okay, we're here with Mark from Huxley Motorsport, obviously a bit of a professional at building cars, competed in the BDC last year, just waiting for his car to be finished. Been helping us out this weekend with scrutineering, so we're just going to ask him a few questions, go through some of the changes. So hi Mark, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not racing, but I'm here.
Okay, we've got obviously a front-facing brake light this year.
Yeah, helping the judges basically see if anybody's playing tricks in front of people following, which is a good idea. I think it's been a long time coming.
We've got double door bars now this year?
Yeah, it's got a double NASCAR door bar, which is basically better for side impact. If a car spins out in front of you, they're going to be sideways. If you're coming in straight, or coming in sideways towards them in the side of the car. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're trying to keep the driver safe as possible with the right harnesses, the right seats, the right steering wheel, the right setup, making sure nothing's loose, fire extinguisher kits, all sorts of stuff.
We're now allowing the drivers to chop the front ends out.
Yeah, with semi-space frames, they basically cutting a lot of the weight of the car. The car comes so heavy from standard, the original comfort zones. We're bringing in a lighter comfort zone that also allows the car to take a lot of impact. Yeah. So we're trying to make the car as light as possible, but balance the car out and spreading the weight in different places to get the nice balance and get to the grip level for the high classes.
Semi-pro drivers started the day on a wet and damp patchy track, forcing some errors. As you can see, Adam Simmons and Stuart Farley almost colliding as they spun on their practice run. Not only did the wet conditions cause a few spins, they also caused a few incidents as drivers felt the pressure due to the poor conditions. Ben Rowland making an error and hitting the wall. That car was repaired and out in time for the battles though. The 2014 season starts right here with the semi-pro class. Having narrowed it down from 40 drivers to our top 16, we make it here to our third and fourth place battle. In the lead car we see Gary Mills, Team M&M driver, in the nicely prepared S14A, going up against Jake Spickett in the Nissan Safiro. Jake is just trying to control his speed and proximity as he goes round that first corner. The guys will transition into the tight hairpin. Jake Spickett is up nice and close to Gary Mills, but Gary Mills is keeping the qualifying line just like the judges have asked for. A good run from both these drivers. We're going to have to see the second run to see if the judges can separate these guys. And here is that second run. The guys switch it around. I'm sure you know the format by now. Jake Spickett now becomes the lead car in the Safiro, using that extra horsepower to try and gain an advantage. Gary Mills is just trailing behind a little bit, but I'm sure into this tight hairpin corner he will do everything to try and catch up, taking a slightly shallow line there to try and gain some ground on Jake. Jake just needs to keep his foot in. Both drivers making a few corrections as they came down the hill into that final corner. Looking at the scores there, I suspect that Jake may have taken the advantage. We'll have to wait and see. After narrowing it down from 40 drivers to our top 16, we have seen our third and fourth place battle. It all comes down to this now. The final in the semi-pro class. We see new driver Ollie Elmore in the Boss Motorsports R33, the lead car, followed by Matt Stevenson, one of the drivers certainly to watch in the 2014 season. In the competition clutch 350Z, they go around this first corner, both drivers looking tidy, especially considering these wet conditions. That's going to be making it very difficult for the drivers, but Matt Stevenson with fantastic close proximity. A correction though from both drivers as they went down the hill. The judges did state that they weren't looking for the manji, which they may be penalised for, but in the end crossing the finish line to complete their run. So we will see these guys switch it around. Matt Stevenson now will become the lead car. Ollie Elmore is going to do everything he can to chase. So Matt Stevenson in the V8 initiates into the first corner. A slight delay there from Ollie Elmore, allowing Matt Stevenson to gain a slight advantage in the first corner. Ollie will do everything he can to try and claw it back now in the tight hairpin here at Lydden Hill before heading down the hill, where he will try and use that extra power to close the gap on Matt Stevenson. But Matt in the Nissan 350Z using that V8 power to try and gain that advantage, looking good. At the end of the day's battles we saw the results like this. New drivers scoring good results. Gary Mills in fourth, Ollie Elmore took second, but at the end of it Matt Stevenson used his experience to take first place on the podium.
Car feeling good?
Yeah, I loved it. Had a few problems in practice, but with new tyres on, good clutch, it's working, so pretty happy.
Once you was in the battles, you felt it looked like you
felt at home. Yeah, I quite liked having it a bit wet like, so we're good.
Conditions drying out, but the rain still looming. We saw a vast improvement in driving. We're moving up into our pro class, as you can see. So moving into our pro class, the judges had a difficult time narrowing it down to third and fourth place battle. But here we see German versus Jap as Pete Green returning to the BDC in his E30 V8 powered BMW. Leads against Matt Tilliard, but Matt Tilliard, the local boy, heads into the gravel, allowing Pete Green to gain a huge advantage as he makes his way round the hairpin corner, down the hill and into the final corner with a clear advantage from the first run. So we move into our second run. A clear advantage from the first battle to Pete Green. Matt Tilliard now will be the lead car and he'll try and put as much pressure on Pete Green into making an error, but Pete Green is going into this first corner with good proximity against Matt Tilliard. Matt Tilliard not putting a foot wrong though as he goes round that hairpin corner, pushing it down the hill. Both drivers heading into the steep gradient of the challenging Lydden Hill circuit as they go round this final corner, and it's a good run from both drivers. And a small acknowledgement from Pete Green there. I think he thinks he's taken that. So straight into our pro final, we see new driver Martin Batty in the Drift Street Imports S15 powered by a VR38 engine going up against Dan Firminger in the Volvo, and you can see a small collision there, and there's a dint in Dan's door. That was quite a hard collision from those guys, certainly putting Martin off his line, and it looks like it may have caused a problem to Martin's car as he doesn't seem to be continuing the drift. Dan is just going to pass him as he moves into the final corner, maintaining his drift. We'll have to wait and see the judges' take on that run. So after speaking to the judges, it was clear that Dan had collided with Martin quite significantly, breaking the drive shaft, meaning that it would go down to just this run. So Dan Firminger into the first corner. Martin Batty will chase him in the VR38 powered S15 as they flick it into that first corner. Slight use of the handbrake there by Dan, which the judges will penalise him for, but Martin Batty absolutely on the qualifying line. Very few errors from both these drivers as they make it round that final corner. It could be either driver taking the win. After some tough decisions and exceptional driving from all drivers, the podium looked like this. Pete Green took third, Dan Firminger took second, and Martin Batty grabbing the first place trophy.
I built the car primarily just as a personal challenge, just so that I wanted to do it. Just a couple of people inspired me to take the project on, and yeah, I'm really pleased how it's turned out, to be honest. So I'm just glad that I can drive it to its potential as well. So.
Is this your first ever competition? Or?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm 4 battles old now.
Well done.
Yeah, man.
Time for a quick break now, but straight back with Super Pro action. Welcome back to the Maxxis British Drift Championship. Despite poor weather conditions, we saw a fantastic turnout here at the Lydden Hill circuit. After witnessing some spectacular driving from the semi-pro and pro class, we moved into our Super Pro class. Despite weather conditions forecast to be rain all weekend, the conditions dried out. However, wet patches were left out on track, catching out even the most experienced drivers. Others, though, preferring the unpredictable conditions, getting right on point, guaranteeing some fantastic battles to be expected in this Super Pro class. So straight into battles, we see our top 8. Michael Marshall, Team M&M and current British Drift Champion with a title to defend, going up against Irish driver Brian Egan in the now supercharged powered Honda S2000 AA86 as he makes a big correction in the first corner. Piling through that smoke though, he's chasing nice and close to Mike Marshall. However, Mike is just going to extend that gap with that 550 horsepower from that BMW. So drivers make it back to the start line where we will see battle 2. This time Brian will lead in the AA86. As they head into that first corner, it looks like there may be a problem from Brian as he seemed to go very slow and some huge corrections. Brian seems to be struggling with the car and Mike has just backed off a little bit, allowing some room. Mike just needs to put in a safe run to keep that advantage from that first battle to take the win and progress into our semi-final. So after our first top 8, we see Matt Carter now going up against Shane O'Sullivan. Matt Carter, the lead car in the Falcon Tyres R32, going up against Team Jack Speed's Shane O'Sullivan as they enter that first corner. Both drivers on the qualifying line, good proximity, but Shane O'Sullivan making a huge error there that will no doubt give the advantage to Matt Carter on this first run as both drivers head into that final corner. Shane does everything he can to try and catch up. So we move straight into our second run. Shane O'Sullivan will become the lead car. Matt Carter will chase him fiercely into that first corner. So Shane initiates with a good, and Matt Carter has lost his drift, throwing that advantage away from the first corner. This is allowing Shane O'Sullivan to pull a huge lead on this battle. Switching things around, I've no doubts that Shane will gain the advantage from the judges and go through into the semi-final. Our next top battle sees Simon Perry going up against Danny Isles. Simon, a veteran to drifting in the UK, going up against Danny Isles, who has taken a 3-year break but back in the driving seat. I've got no doubts that Simon is going to try and school Danny on this run, but Danny proving that he can get back in the car, putting in a good run but making some errors. I'm sure that the judges will have spotted that and that Simon may take an advantage on this first run with some fantastic driving. That means that it will come down to this second run to see who will take the win. Danny is the lead car as he cuts in front of Simon and initiates into that first corner. Danny running quite wide and Simon taking that qualifying line. The judges will mark him highly for that as they head into the hairpin corner. Danny just struggling to get the grips with that Jack Speed Subaru, and Simon again keeping his cool as they enter that final corner. I suspect Simon will move into the semi-final. After our top 8 battles, there are only 4 places up for grabs. 14-year-old Jack Shanahan goes up against current champion Mike Marshall, whilst Irish driver Shane O'Sullivan goes up against Simon Perry. First of our semi-final battles, we'll see current British Drift champion Mike Marshall going up against 14-year-old Jack Shanahan in his BMW turbo-powered Nissan S14A. These guys, some of the best drivers in and around Europe, as Mike Marshall leads into the first corner, makes a slight error, allowing Jack Shanahan to almost rub the rear quarter of Mike Marshall. As they go down the hill into the final corner, Jack negotiates his way through the smoke. What a fantastic run. So the second battle will see Jack leading with Mike chasing into the first corner. Jack is going to flick it into that corner, but Michael Marshall is going to chase him down, hunting him. He wants to start off this season like he finished last season as a winner. Heading round the hairpin corner and down the hill, Jack Shanahan is extending his lead on Mike Marshall, and it looks like Jack may make it through into the final. So we've seen our first semi-final, let's straight into our second. Team Jack Speed Shane O'Sullivan going up against Simon Perry, a battle that we have seen on many occasions and one that will be fierce. Into this first corner, Shane O'Sullivan will be the lead car. Simon flicks it in behind him, both drivers taking that qualifying line, but an error from Simon Perry allowing Shane O'Sullivan to try and gain a small advantage, but Simon is straight back underneath his door in the hairpin corner. Down the hill, Shane O'Sullivan pulling a slight lead and maybe taking the advantage. I'm sure it'll come down to this second run though. So Malk sets them off the start line. Simon Perry will be the lead car into the first corner. These guys looking nice and close. Both drivers flick it into the first corner. Simon runs terribly wide and Shane is going to go for the overtake, making it clean. Simon allowing that room, knowing that he'd made that error, allowing Shane to go down the hill now in the lead with a huge advantage. I suspect that Shane will definitely make it into the final. What a run. So we are into our third and fourth place battle. Who would have thought that at round one we would see current champion Mike Marshall going up against last year's runner-up Simon Perry. This is fantastic. Mike Marshall leads into the first corner on the qualifying line. A few small errors from both drivers as Simon gets right underneath the door though of Mike Marshall. Mike is going to try and extend that lead though, smoking out Simon. Simon will not be phased. After a close run, it still goes down to this battle. Simon Perry the lead car, Mike Marshall the chase car. Can Mike Marshall get up nice and close to Simon Perry? Into the first corner, Simon washing out slightly again and allowing Mike Marshall to take that qualifying line that the judges have asked for. That will set him up perfectly for this final corner. Mike navigates his way through the tyre smoke of that Lasser Tyres R33. This is close, it could be anybody's. Who will take third place? The moment we have been waiting for. The final of round one here at Lydden Hill Circuit. Jack Shanahan, an Irish driver, 14 years old, going up against Shane O'Sullivan, again from Ireland. As they head into the first corner, Jack Shanahan leads right on cue. Shane runs wide off that qualifying line. Jack will have the advantage as he goes into the hairpin corner, and he's pulling away from Shane O'Sullivan in the Team Jack Speed S15. Jack putting in some fantastic driving here, but we'll have to wait and see what the second run has in store for us. Here is that second run. Jack Shanahan now will become the chase car. Shane O'Sullivan the lead car. They head into the first corner. Nice and fast, and a huge flick from Shane, but hard on the brakes to try and maintain his speed. Jack Shanahan getting right on the qualifying line again. Nice and close proximity. This is a fantastic battle and could go any of two ways. Shane O'Sullivan into that final corner with Jack chasing him nicely in that BMW powered S14A. So who did take it? Well, I can tell you that current British Drift Championship Mike Marshall took the third step on the podium. Shane O'Sullivan came second, and in his first ever British Drift Championship event, an emotional Jack Shanahan takes first place.
First time in the BDC, how's it feel?
Absolutely brilliant. I am so delighted with the event. We were only coming over just about to qualify, just have a bit of fun and stuff, but just can't believe I'm after getting to the final and after winning. It's just amazing.
The team results look like this. Team Boss Motorsport 40 points in third. Team Delwith Nankang Tyre joint on 46, but due to the higher finishing place, Slide Motorsport leading to round two.
A great start for a brand new season here at the Maxxis British Drift Championship. Matt, talk us through the day a little bit.
Oh my God, I mean the challenges the guys had to face today with the weather. One time hot, dry, cold, wet, it's just ridiculous. Constantly changing the tyre pressures, constantly changing the setups of the car. But the driving from all of the drifters today, absolutely epic.
It's set the bar up for the rest of the season now, isn't it?
Massively. All the teams, all the drivers taking that one notch up.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. But until next time, go hard
or go home.